Okay, we're in my I'm a mess and it's fine era. It is what it is. Look at all those flyaways though. Wow, what a day. Do you see my I was just wearing sunglasses. You can see my mark is still there. Oh, hello humans. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Yelly, or Yellbell Beauty, here on YouTube, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. I think that's all the social media that I'm willing to have right now, but we'll talk about it. Today we're gonna do a Q&A / get ready with me. So I did ask for all of you to ask me questions on Instagram. I am warning you now, I'm a rambler, so get excited. I wanna use my Mel's Memory Bundle. So this palette specifically was made by my friend Delaney, Death and Candy Custom Creations. You can follow her on Instagram, but she makes custom palettes. You might have seen some of her palettes in my videos before, like this Soot Sprite one. And she and I worked together to create the vision of my Mel's Memory Bundle from Sydney Grace in here. If you don't know, this bundle was curated by Mel Thompson. Mel Thompson was a member of the indie makeup community on YouTube and Instagram, and sadly, I believe it's been almost 2 years now, Mel has passed away. I was a big fan of Mel, so I'm really, happy to have this finally, so let's get started. So, I am already wearing sunscreen. I took a walk outside. My fiance and I have been using our Sundays to go try new coffee shops in the area. Unfortunately, this one isn't it. I'm sorry, B2 Cafe in Philadelphia. My review is it's too sweet for a regular coffee. I need something a little less sweet, unless I asked for it to be like really sweet. I'm not looking for that. So maybe something else on their menu is the way to go, but not for me. I've actually been trying out the Give Beauty by Gwen Stefani. They're like new lip plumpers. Some of you saw this in my Instagram stories. I feel some type of way about this. So this one's like sheer, like the sheer one. You can see it gives a little bit of frost, right? When I drink things, like this pink color comes off on the cup. It is not what I would call a regular lip plumper. Think of these like Lawless glosses, or like this Makeup by Mario stick, or like these Tarte ones, how they have that like cooling tingle. This has, if you've ever used capsaicin cream, if you know what that is, it comes from like hot peppers, and people can put it on like muscle soreness and stuff like that. Kind of like Icy Hot. But like it's the hot part of Icy Hot. Like these are like the icy part of Icy Hot. This is like the hot part of Icy Hot. So it's interesting. I believe it is called like something, I have the box over here somewhere. I believe it is called something about burning. I don't know if that's the right word. Where did I put the box? The box. Okay, it is called the Spark the Fire Lip Balm. So I would certainly say that that is like an accurate title. Like it's like heat tingly. I don't mind it. I actually kind of like it, but it is not for everybody. Like if you are sensitive to plumping things, big no. If you are sensitive to like tingling from anything, I have then been taking this and then I put the Auric on top. I've just been dipping my finger in here. The Jade spatula, while like nice in theory, it's always like dirty once I put it in there, and then I put it back in the top, and then the top gets, I don't feel any strong way about this lip balm. Actually, I take that back. I feel this lip balm is overpriced. I would call it very unassuming. Like, I'm indifferent. I don't feel that it does anything for my lips that, like, I don't know, like a Burt's Bees or like a regular like chapstick doesn't do. It smells nice, it feels nice. It doesn't really have, this is like the clear one, it doesn't have a tint. I think this was like, I'll put the price on the screen. I want to say this was like $30 something. It might be more. And there is 0.11 ounces in here. So like, let's do a frame of reference. Regular chapstick has 0.15, and I'll put the price for a single regular brand chapstick on here, but I want to say this is like $1 and something. So like, that's a little ridiculous for me. If you're into luxury makeup, cool. Like it has a cool luxury case. It comes with this Jade spatula that I don't use, so take your pick. My first step is sunscreen. I am already wearing sunscreen. I put this on before we went out today. This is the Kosas Dream Beam. This is a sample I got with a Sephora Point Perk. Good, so far so good. I can't really explain the scent. It's like a light rose scent. It is tinted. I'd say it's like the right kind of tint for my skin tone. I don't know if this comes in other shades. Like it might, but you could see that's like you know, that's like a me color right there. And I'm like a light medium. Somebody asked me what my shade was in MAC the other day, and I was like, I haven't bought a MAC powder since I was like a freshman in high school, and also they revamped the line, so I might be like something in the new numbers, so I don't know. While we have our sunscreen on and my glasses mark stays there, we're gonna primerize and maybe we could look at our first question. So let's this is a new bottle of the Urban Decay Primer Potion. I was tired of scraping the other one. I think after I finish that, I'm gonna try the About Face primer that everyone's talking about, and it is cheaper, so we'll see. Okay, let's pull up some questions. Let's go back. I'll go back to the very first question and work my way to the newer ones. I feel like that's fair, right? Okay, so the first question is, any tips for someone who feels uninspired to do makeup but used to really love it? This is actually, I think, a really great question because during the pandemic, I felt this way. That's actually why I made my Instagram. For me, it was an outlet to try new things. I think that the best way for me to find inspiration is to look at other people's art, look at things that I wouldn't do and try new things, put on colors that I wouldn't try. I think that trying things in a different way can kind of spark inspiration for me personally. So I'm gonna go into the Mills Memory Bundle. I will link this down below. I think it's like on back order right now, and I also would have to pull them out to tell you the shades, so I will try and put them on the screen. Hold on, my brother's calling me. That's abnormal. Hello?
Sup?
I'm filming. What are you doing?
You're swimming?
I said I'm filming.
2 hours later.
Okay, we're back. I think I'm in focus. I look like I'm in focus on the monitor. My brother called because he's having a housewarming and he wanted to know what snacks to get. As I was saying, let's go into the Mills Memory Bundle. So I don't have the shades of these, like I would have to like pull them out and that would be, you know, would take up time and stuff. So what I'll do is I'll put the shade name on the screen as I use it. These are in order of like when you get the bundle. So I think to start off I'm gonna take this like light peachy shade right here. I'm gonna take that on a Sigma E25. Where's my mirror? So yes, I believe we were talking about inspiration. I think that I personally, looking at other people's art and artistry and makeup is where I pull a lot of my inspiration. I think during the pandemic, I really felt like stunted with my makeup because the beginning of the pandemic, I wasn't going anywhere, right? So like kind of felt like what was the point? So I started doing makeup in my grad school dorm room and taking pictures of it. And that was just like for me to like have kind of an archive of my artistry, and started my Instagram page, and then I was able to kind of put some of them up there. And so a lot of my early posts on Instagram are like kind of from that archive of pictures that I was taking of my art, or makeup, but that's, I think, how I really got back into it, was looking at other people and trying to like replicate that, or, you know, trying something new. And I knew that like I wasn't, you know, going anywhere, and I thought that that was really fun to just kind of like try something new, even if it was on one eye. So that's when I feel like I really started to kind of experiment with stuff. So I hope that helps, and I hope that answer makes sense. I'm going to take this shade right here for the outer corner, and I'm actually just going to use the same Sigma brush. I think that this shade might be Peyton's Puppy, but I might be wrong. So the next question is, what kind of work do you do? Not necessarily the company, just type. So I think I've actually talked about this before, but I don't mind talking about it. I work in human resources. I think I don't know if I said this in a previous video or like on an Instagram live, like everyone has a LinkedIn. Like if you really wanted to, you could probably figure out where I work. I mean, I wouldn't love that, but like, you know, it's not like it's something that I could really hide. I do have some like coworkers that are aware that I do this, so like they might even, you know, be like lurking, but I work in human resources. I am an HR generalist. I am kind of like the person that when you think of like typical human resources, I work with what I call the life cycle of an employee. So from the minute you apply for a job at the organization that I work at to the minute that you retire or you leave to go to another company, or ultimately if you are fired for some reason. I do that. So hiring, firing, and everything in between. So a lot of people, when I say that, ask how I got into human resources. I don't think I ever said the words that I wanted to be in human resources. I kind of like fell into the profession by accident. So when I went to college, I wanted to be a physical therapist. Like I thought that I was going to be a physical therapist. I really wanted to work specifically with people who had amputations and help them work with their new prosthetics, things like that. I really thought I would do that, but I didn't really ever feel into my coursework. And then when I got to my first internship, I worked specifically at a rehabilitation hospital. I actually talked about this in my last video, but I worked at a hospital for individuals who were amputees or had spinal cord injuries, and generally individuals at this hospital like would never walk again, or if they did, they would have prosthetics. And I thought that was like a really awesome job, but the parts of my job that I enjoyed more were like patient outreach and like spreadsheets and fundraising and development. And I didn't so much enjoy like the patient contact part of the job, and I found out that I just really liked people. So I switched my major to psychology because it was broad and I didn't know what to do. I think at least here in America there's like this big stigma against psychology majors that it's like the easy way out. And like, I'm not gonna lie, it's just like a catch-all, right? Like if you don't know what you want to do, psychology is a great major, and like I never was like felt any type of way about it because like that wasn't really my chosen major. I just kind of needed to pick something when I didn't know what I wanted to do. But at my undergrad, I went to Drexel and we had to take this class. I can't remember what it was, like the number of it. It was like psych something, but basically the class was like, here are all the things that you could do with a degree in psychology. And the answer is like really everything. But they talked about like, this is what it's like if you want to do research work. Like these are the jobs that you'd have to go to get a PhD for or a master's for, things like that. So at that point, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, but you know, then that way the world was kind of like my oyster. So that was really cool. I did 2 more internships. One was like a quasi HR and finance, like it was like 50-50, and I really enjoyed the HR portion of that a lot. And then my last internship was entirely in HR. My last internship was actually with the organization that I still work at. I like never left after I interned. I've been through 3 different jobs there. So I went from HR assistant as the intern to HR coordinator on the talent acquisition side, which was basically like recruiting and onboarding, and then now I'm an HR generalist. I went to grad school. And when I went to grad school, I had decided I wanted to work in higher education. So my master's degree is actually in college. That's like the funny thing that I like to say. I need to wash my brushes. It's brush washing day, but meanwhile, we're gonna do this and be lazy. If you don't have one of these, they're just like a sponge where you could rub your brush and it takes off the excess pigment. It's like really helpful between brush washing. Not that like I really need to do that, because look at all my brushes. This is like disgusting, but you know. And I have like 3 sets of these Blend Bunny brushes. This is a Blend Bunny B1. But yeah. So I wanted to work in higher education. I thought I wanted to be like a dean or work specifically in Greek life. So those of you who follow me on Instagram for a really long time know that I have like behind me, I have like a paddle from Greek life hanging, and I wear sorority shirts a lot. I'm actually wearing like a sorority shirt right now. You can't really tell, but I was in a sorority and I really enjoyed a lot of the programming aspects and the like community aspect to Greek life. And when I was in grad school, I stayed at my internship full time, like I said, doing talent acquisition, and once I graduated, I had already been promoted. So it was kind of like a I'm already here thing. And if we're gonna be honest, I went to Drexel, and Drexel is a private university and it's not cheap. So working in higher education, like they really don't pay a lot. Like a good standard that I could tell you is like I interviewed for a job my second year of grad school to work at a college, and they told me that they would pay me like $27,000 a year. In this economy, to mold the people of tomorrow, that's what you want to pay me? I feel some type of way about that. I would still love to get back into the education field. What I do now is like quasi-education adjacent. Like the organization I work at is like education adjacent. So I still have like a piece of that there, but yes, I do have a master's of education. So at the end of my name, like on my email signature, it says, comma, MED, Master of Education. I am going to take this like deeper peachy shade right here on the Blend Bunny B1. So that is what I do. I work in human resources. I never thought that I would. I never thought that I'd stay once I did, but here I am, still here. still kicking. So that is what I do. I am also a certified college professor. Like, I have a certificate in that. I have not taught since I was in grad school, and it was like a requirement that I teach classes, but yeah. I'm actually gonna take this shade down here to deepen it up a little bit more. I'm gonna take that on a Sigma E36. I have a few of these. These are like my favorite, like really tiny little blending brushes. If you have like big eyes like me that are like only hooded at the ends, I have like the typical Middle Eastern eye. And if you're wondering why I said that, I am Middle Eastern, if you like couldn't tell by my name. So yeah, I'm gonna take that shade on that Sigma E36. Slightly dust some of that. But yeah, I think this is a great brush. Another one that I really like for my eye shape is these Blend Bunny ones. This one is the B2. These are like really nice to, you know, get in there. Morphe had made like a dupe for the Sigma E36. I have one of them somewhere. I don't know where it is. It's like really short, so it kind of gets lost in the brush cup, but it looks very similar. And then like they discontinued it really quickly. Ah, it's right here. Okay, it was the M562. So if you have this, it's a very similar shape. Like you can see right here. Here's the Sigma one and here's the Morphe one. My Morphe one's a little frayed, but like you could see, it's like the same general idea. Okay, what is our next question? What's something you love about yourself? Oh, I like that one. Something I love about myself. Let me think. I think something that I love about myself is how I connect with people and how I care about people. I know that that's not like a very unique thing, but I think my whole life I've like really made an effort to connect with people and understand people from different backgrounds and be able to just kind of listen. Even if I don't understand, I think listening is a really big thing. So I love how like I at least try to kind of understand different viewpoints and connect with people on something. One actually, this is going back to my job, this is funny, but one actually really interesting exercise that we do in one of the trainings that I run at work is what we call a cultural lens exercise. So if you don't know what a cultural lens is, we could do a little teaching moment here. A cultural lens is essentially how you view the world through your own particular version. So when people are like, I see it all, like, no, you see your particular version of the world. Everyone has a viewpoint, right? Like everybody sees things differently, and their cultural lens is shaped by their culture and their upbringing. And like everybody has a culture. Like you could be a white man and some people are like, there's nothing like cultural about me. Like, okay, what's your religion? Where's your family originally from? Like, did you come over on the Mayflower? Like how is there nothing like culturally significant about you? Even if that, like coming over on the Mayflower seems pretty culturally significant to me. But so your upbringing really shapes how you see things in the world. So like accounting for other people's cultural lenses is really important to see where they're coming from. Because while your intent can mean one thing, your impact like leaves another for people. And I think that's really important. So a lot of people will say like their cultural lens is, you know, like shaped specifically by their religion, or if, you know, they were born in another country. I always say I had a cultural lens that was shaped because I had a single mom. Like I don't really view gender stereotypes in the same way as other people because my mom did everything, you know, like it wasn't like, oh, man's the breadwinner, like man fixes the car. It was like, oh, something's broken, my mom has to fix it because she's the one here. So I think that, you know, something I love about myself is that I try to account at least, and you know, everybody has a fault, so I'm sure there are times when I haven't, so don't come at me, but I try to account for other people's cultural lenses and see where they're coming from. And to identify that I have my own, and that I'm seeing things from a specific viewpoint because of who I am and where I've been, and that other people have been other places and they are different people and they might see that differently. I'm gonna take that bigger Sigma brush, the E25 that we used earlier, and just kind of do some blending. All right, let's look at our next question. What's something you admire in other people? I really admire when other people, and I feel like this might come off the wrong way, but when other people don't care what people think. I don't know, like it sounds like wrong when I say it like that, but I am by nature a people pleaser. Like, and that's something that I actually don't love about myself. Like, if you were like, what is your like biggest like fault? I'd be like, I'm a people pleaser. Like I have this innate need that like I always want people to like me, and I don't know where it came from, probably something in childhood, but like I really just want people to like me, and I really just like want people to like think good of me, and like because of that I will very often not speak my mind, or like when I do, like I will feel really bad about it. So I really admire when people are the opposite of me. One of my best friends, Susan, is like really my opposite in the fact that it's not that she doesn't care about people, because Susan does care about people. I want to make that clear. But she's the opposite of the fact that like she'll say something, and then when I'm like, oh my god, like aren't you worried what they'll think? She's like, no, I'm not. And like I admire that so much in her, because I really wish, like I was telling her the other day that I wish I could say something to somebody because I felt some type of way, and she was like, why don't you just say it? And I was like, because it's gonna hurt their feelings. And she was like, okay, but like if you're not saying it, your feelings are hurt, right? So like that's something I like really, really admire when people have that ability. It's something I think that I have been trying to work on, but it is really hard. It is like, if you are a people pleaser, I feel you. It is really hard to get out of this. It is really hard. I think I'm gonna take, ooh, I want to use green mango, so maybe I should have done more greens, but too bad. So I'm gonna take this light green shade right here into this one I know is named green mango. It's like that green with gold flecks. And then we'll take a little bit of this deep green in the outer corner. And I'm gonna take my NYX glitter primer. If you've been here, you know it exploded, blah, blah, blah. And this is a Morphe and Jeffree Star JS11. Again, not a fan of Jeffree Star. Bold brush. Also, I changed my mind. I wanna use this shade in the inner corner. I think this is green mist because it looks like red mist, but it's green. I think this one is green mist. I actually love this brush. If anyone has a dupe for this brush, let me know, because I would like to buy another brush that looks like it. It's like flat for the inner corner. This is one of the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill ones. It's the JH42. So if you have a dupe, let me know down below, please, but I'm going to take that on a JH42. Also, my mirror was totally just like reflecting right onto my face. I apologize for that. So I moved back. A lot of you probably noticed I was here, and then I had like a little bit of my, you know, side panel going on with my art, and then I moved back here, and it's really just for lighting, because the lighting in my apartment is not good. So I think we're just gonna be here, and we're just gonna have to film in front of the window, and it is what it is. One day I won't have to do this, but today is not the day. Okay, and then I'm gonna take green mango on my finger. Oh yeah, that is like everything that I want. Oh, you know where else there's a really beautiful green that I've been loving lately? The Quintessence palette, the Temptale ones. I like cannot put those down. Those are like, since I got this order. This is my first time playing with this bundle really, because I just can't stop using those. I can't believe they're discontinuing them. They're so good. And then to just deepen out the outer corner there, I'm gonna take that deep green. And then we're just gonna do a little finger blending. Yeah, that's what we want, right? Okay, before we do the other eye, let's answer another question here. Let's see what we got. What are some of your special interests or hobbies outside of makeup? I like doing digital art, like it's a hobby. I used to be so much better at it when I was like in middle school and high school. I was actually like in AP art, like that's how much I was into art. A younger me has much more talent than current me. I think it's just like art doesn't come to me naturally, like not like makeup art, but like painting art, stuff like that. And it's a skill that I have to like hone. If you've ever seen me go live from my mom's house, actually, my mom is an artist by trade. She was like a clinical art therapist, and her house has like a lot of these like wacky murals. And she just can kind of like think of these things, or like one time she told me that she like dreams in like weird shapes and colors sometimes, and that's where she gets ideas, and I think that that's like really interesting. I definitely don't. I just dream about like life and stuff that happens. I actually quite often dream about high school and my cheerleading coach yelling at me because I'm an anxious human, but yeah, so really into digital art. And my fiance got me for the holidays, so last year or 2 years ago now, he got me an iPad with an Apple Pencil to kind of like dip back into that. I also really love movies and TV shows. Like, I love, you know, seeing a movie and feeling like really awesome about it and getting really into it. I love watching a good TV show with like a lot of lore to it, so that's fun. Some shows I've been watching recently, I just caught up with My Adventures with Superman. Love it. I grew up, it's funny because I feel like so many people are a big Marvel fan. I grew up in a DC household. Like, my family was like very much like Superman, Batman, The Flash. So yeah, that's some stuff that I like to do movie-wise. I have a little bit of superhero movie fatigue right now. Sorry, I'm looking for where I put any blending brush that I was using. I'm gonna actually take this BH Cosmetics number 6. It's from a set. I actually don't know what's up with BH Cosmetics right now, so I apologize. I don't think you could get this anymore. I think this was like the Rose Quartz brush set or something. But their brushes are good. They last long enough. Like, I have one here. I need to go through and get rid of some because I have one here in particular that I have in my mind that is like cracking. These are like wooden handles, so it's like here it is. I don't even know if you could. Do you see that? It's like all cracked. I'm gonna take this with no additional product and just blend. But yeah, so My Adventures with Superman was good. I have superhero movie fatigue right now for sure. Like, I think a lot of us do. Like, I think Marvel just kind of did a little too much, especially with the connecting of the movies, where I felt this weird pressure to like see every Marvel movie. It was difficult, especially because, again, I didn't grow up in a Marvel household, so prior to the movies I did a lot of like reading about the superheroes to like prime myself. Like, it was just like a little too much. Recently saw Barbie, Oppenheimer, those were great. Let's see, what was a really good movie we saw this year? Ooh, Suzume was like really good. If you love, it's not a Miyazaki movie, but if you love like a Miyazaki movie, it has kind of that same feeling. I can't remember the name of the like director, but he also directed Your Name, which is like a critically acclaimed movie. That's also another sad one. Miyazaki's coming out with his very last movie this year, so I'm like anxiously awaiting that one. Spirited Away, I think, is a movie that like changed my life, honestly, because it made anime like such more of like a mainstream thing. And when I was a kid, I actually got bullied a ton for like really loving anime. I went to a private school that was really small, and if one person dictated something wasn't cool, then it just wasn't cool. And I feel some type of way about that. So, yeah. This is a JH40. I'm just like adding a little bit more of that, like a mixture of that peachy color and that brown to bring the green in. I actually think I should maybe just add a little pop of green here. Let's find that Sigma brush. What did I do with you? So this is why I just need more of these Sigma brushes. Ah, here it is. Okay, here's the Sigma E36 again. And I'm gonna take, just to like blend it all together, this like dark green shade right here. Like very lightly dust that where the green and the peach meet. But yeah, love a good movie, love a good TV show. Drop your recs below. I've been rewatching Fruits Basket lately, but I actually think I'm just gonna like pivot to the new one because I've never seen the new one. I loved the manga, so that's a really, you know, something that I've been watching lately. We've been watching Only Murders in the Building's new season. Love it. Some shows, though, I just, like, again, I get that fatigue and I can't watch it. Like You, I haven't watched since, like, I think I watched the first episode of season 3 and I, like, tapped out. I just, like, couldn't do it anymore. Some shows, like, I think give me, I need to watch them in bursts. Like Euphoria is another one. Like, it just is, like, emotionally exhausting, so I need to, like, take a break. So I love anything that's, like, escaping from this world. Like, My Adventures with Superman's great because it's kind of, like, a feel-good. It's, like, all about Superman and his, like, origin story, and, like, he knows he has these powers, but he, like, hasn't been using them because he thinks he's different. So I think that's really great. And it has, like, a reimagined version of Lois Lane, who's like really cool, like an independent woman and not so much like relying on Superman, which I think is awesome, and she's like kind of bossy and it's great. And they actually brought in Jimmy as a character, which is like not something you usually see in Superman stuff. If you didn't read the comics, Jimmy is actually like Clark Kent's friend who's a photographer at the newspaper that he works at. So yeah, that's pretty cool. What do we have here next? How did you and your fiance meet? Oh God. So how did me and my fiance meet? First, I'm going to get out a brown eyeliner. So the brown liquid liner I have right now, I have this ColourPop one. It's like starting to leak. It's really old, and it's also like warm, and I want a cooler brown liner. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this NYX Epic liner and I'm going to put it on a palette and then take a liner brush and line my eye with it. So where is a palette? Aha. Here we go. It's kind of dirty, but you can see I did this the other day actually. So I'm just going to crush some onto there, right there. And I'm gonna take a liner brush. So what do we got here? This is a Suva Beauty 610. Use code YellBellBeauty, I believe is my code. I'll put it on the screen if I'm wrong. It might be something else, but that's my code with Suva. I do earn a commission from that. No pressure. So we both went to Drexel, and I had a friend who hung out at his fraternity a lot, and she would talk about him. So I knew his name, but like I didn't know who he was. My 4th year of college, I want to say. So Drexel's a 5-year school, by the way. That's why I was like 4th year of college, like almost like if that didn't make sense. We have, it goes freshman, sophomore, pre-junior, junior, senior. And that's so you could fit in like your 3 internships. So my 4th out of my 5 years of college, I believe, is when we met. So that same friend who knew him actually was like, I know someone who needs a date to his fraternity formal. And she did not set me up with my fiance, if you thought this is where this was going. She set me up with this other guy. And nothing against the dude personally, okay? Seems like a totally nice guy. He was much younger than me. I think he was like a sophomore. I was like 22 already. And he got so drunk at the pregame, he like fell asleep at the table when we got there. He spilled like wine all over his shirt. I just like wasn't really hanging out with my date because he was kind of out of it. And I went outside just for like a reprieve, and I met my fiance who had actually gone alone. And he knew my name, and I was like, why do you know my name? And he was like, we've met before. And I was like, no, we didn't. And to this day, he still says we met before, but he can't tell me where or when. But yeah, that's how we met. So we exchanged numbers that night, and then he didn't call me or text me for 5 months. So that happened. So I was like waiting for him to ask me out, but he didn't. And then he like disappeared for 5 months, and then he texted me and was like, so when are we getting drinks? And I was like, did we make plans for that? Like, but that was our first date. We got drinks at this Irish pub, which is actually no longer existent. It's sad. They closed it. I don't know what it is now. Like, it's not a restaurant at all. But yeah, we got drinks there. That was our first date. We went on our first 3 dates in like 1 week. Our second date was, he cooked me dinner at his apartment. He loves to cook. And then our third date was, we went out to, it's gonna sound so dumb, but like my favorite restaurant on campus. Like the food isn't particularly like amazing, but when you're a college student, it was like the best food you could get. You know, it was like a Italian / Greek place. Like they had like gyros and pizza and paninis and pasta. You know, very normal. Like if you lived on a college campus, you get what I mean. You probably had a restaurant like that. Where did I put any eye pencil sharpener? I have like a box of them because I keep losing them. And then I open a new one, and then I find the other one. So, like, let's make an attempt to actually find any of the other ones. And we're doing it. I was not exaggerating. I legitimately have a box of eye pencil sharpeners because I just keep losing them. I only have like 3 left in here. This is a no-name brand from Amazon. You know why? Because like if I buy a nice one, I had one from Benefit that I had and I loved, and it was shaped like this, and it was pink, and it was great and super sharp, and guess what? I lost it 3 times. I kept paying for the new one and then I gave up. Anyway, let's sharpen this pencil. But yeah, that's how I met my fiance. We dated for almost 5 years before he proposed. We were like, it was like 4, no, actually I think we did date for 5 years because he proposed in December. So I think we had just hit our 5-year anniversary. Our anniversary is like in October of when we actually started dating. It was a Halloween weekend on campus. Sharpen that pencil just to crush it down some more so I could finish the wing on this eye. Do those match? Not even remotely. That's how it normally goes, right? And then you're just gonna have to keep evening them out until one of them's completely at your eyebrow. Alright, that might be as good as we're gonna get right now. I kind of feel like this one's up and this one's out, but it's like too late, so it is what it is. Alright, what's our next question before we put on some face primer? Battle of the Philly cheesesteaks, which is best? I'm not a good person to ask because I actually don't eat meat. So, if you want, I could ask someone who does eat meat. What's the best Philly cheesesteak in your opinion?
I'm not starting fights.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure the person who asked this doesn't live in Philly.
I'm not starting fights.
Okay, well, there you go. I can tell you one thing. It is not Pat's or Geno's. Pat's and Geno's are tourist attractions, okay? Do not think that they are the best cheesesteaks in Philly. They just say that they're the best cheesesteaks in Philly. That's about as much as I know about cheesesteaks.
Tavern has the best vegan.
Ah, yes, Triangle Tavern has the best vegan cheesesteak, and it's actually certified by Chris Glamigator, who is a vegan chef by trade. They came and they visited me and they got the vegan cheesesteak there and they said it was good. So there you go. This is the Hamish Artless Glow Base. I was gifted this. I am actually running low on this. Would I buy this again? I think so. It's like a nice glowy primer. On the days that I use it, I don't always wear like Auric Glow Lust. It could be really glowy. You want to talk about glowy though? Oh my god. I wore for the first time the other day. I got another point perk because I wanted to just try out some new sunscreens, because if you didn't watch my last video, I tried this one from YesStyle that was gifted to me. It's fine, but it leaves a white cast. So I wanted one that didn't. This is the glow screen from Supergoop, and I put this on yesterday and I immediately took it off. It is like Tin Man glow. It is more glowy than if I put Glow Lust all over my face. It is honestly, in my opinion, personally, I think I looked disgusting. Like, it looked like I covered my face in like shiny silver or something. Like, it's just not for me. I know a lot of people love this. Maybe under makeup this looks great, but on its own, absolutely hell not. No. Oh, hey look, I just found my sharpener. That other one could just go back in the box, I guess. I'm just gonna go in with my fingers. But yeah, I think I would repurchase this. I also really like another really good glowy primer that I actually do love is the Lorac Glass Skin one. I think that one is like a hidden gem. It is so good. It's like a serum gel, but it's nice and glowy, and makeup glides over it so well, and it does do some blurring on your pores. So yeah, would highly recommend that one. I have no affiliation with Hamish. They just gifted this stuff to me. Like, they asked if I'd be interested in PR. It was the only time I got it from them. Quite frankly, they might never send me PR again, because I'm not gonna lie, I was honest, because I feel it's important to be honest about the shade range for their BB cream is not good. Like, I kept 2 of them. I donated all the rest because they sent me the whole line. So this is my shade. This is 25N medium. This is my shade. This is, after that there's a shade that looks almost identical to this. The undertone's a little bit different. I believe it's called Light Tan. I donated that. Then it goes to 31N, Deep. Like, what about all the people between me? And if you want to know why I kept this, it's because now that I'm getting tan, a lot of like my foundations that I use are like not matching perfectly. So I kept this as like a mix-in for me. This works as like a mix-in for me. So it's not really even that deep. So if you have like a rich, deep skin tone, like, they don't make it for you. And if they don't want honesty, then like, you know what? If you don't want honesty, don't send me PR. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not a brand baby. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I think it's a really nice product, but it is so unfortunate that so many people cannot use it. And like, I'm just gonna be honest about that. So yeah, I don't know if they're ever gonna send me PR again, because I talked about that. But I like the primer, I like the BB cream, but the shade range is abysmal, so I would never buy this with my own money, because like, why would I keep buying something that like half of my followers probably can't buy? I actually don't even know about the light skin tone. I'll put my swatches up here, but like, I'm a light medium, like I said. Like, if you want reference, in the Haus Labs, like, this is like my perfect shade in the winter, but this is 190 Light Cool. In the Rare Beauty, I'm 230N. In any Maybelline foundation, I'm usually, like, they call it, like, sand beige. Regardless, it's just, like, I am, like, the most catered to skin tone. Okay? Like, I've said this before. When they're like, oh my god, the brand came out with, like, 40 shades of orange, like, they're my skin tone. I am what, like, the market views for some reason as, like, the skin tone that they should make a million foundations for. I'm a light medium with a yellow undertone. Like, the yellow undertone is where you really got it. Anyway. Yeah, so there's that. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. What is the next question? What sparked your love for makeup? Actually, my grandma. My grandma, who I actually have a picture right here. I know we look literally nothing alike. You see this blonde lady and you're like, what? These are my grandparents. These are my grandparents. Look nothing like my grandma. Neither does my mom. I look just like my mom. So, couldn't tell you how that happened, but my grandma had blonde hair and green eyes. My grandpa, her husband, who's very gray in that picture, he had like black hair and brown eyes, which is how we got this coloring. And then my dad, who was Middle Eastern, was, you know, dark skin, dark hair, dark eyes. So that's how I wound up like this, but it's funny because my uncle, like my mom's brother, he got like blue eyes, blonde hair. Don't really know where the blue eyes come from. I don't know if it's like a great grandparent thing or something, because my grandma again had green eyes. Yeah, some of his kids look like, one of his daughters is like the spitting image of my grandma. Like, she doesn't even look like my uncle's kid. She looks like she's like my grandma's kid. But my mom looks nothing like her mom. But yeah, so my grandma was a glamour girl. I was actually talking about her yesterday when I went to brunch with friends because I was talking about her wedding dress. And my grandma loved clothes, makeup, purses. She passed away in April, and when she passed away, my grandpa was like, please come help me go through her stuff. And the amount of things that still had tags on them, brand new like Prada purses, her feet were so small. I'm a 9, okay? That's like what I perceive as like 8, 9. That's a normal shoe size. My grandma was like a 4 or something. So she had very small feet. One of my cousins has really small feet like her. Not the one that looks like her actually though, but another one. And so I thought that was like pretty funny that somebody had feet that small, but she had like a lot of designer shoes, a lot of designer purses, and most of her makeup was expired, but she only wore like Clinique, Estee Lauder, Chanel makeup. All her nail polish, she had like Chanel nail polish. She loved makeup. When I was a kid, she would like literally give me for dress up like Clinique makeup, Chanel makeup, like to play dress up with. I did like children's fashion shows, and my first like real lipstick that she gave me for that was from Elizabeth Arden, and I was like 9. So yeah, I definitely think a lot of my love for makeup sparks from her. She had a MAC membership. I don't know if they even do these anymore, but MAC used to have these like memberships that you can get, and you would get like points. And when I was like in 8th grade, she took me to MAC and was like, pick out whatever you want, I'll buy it for you. So that's how I got a lot of like my first makeup. I didn't wet my sponge yet, so please hold. Okay, we're back with a wet sponge. I would use a brush, but all of my foundation brushes are dirty. Even though I have like so many of them. Oh my god, I can't even explain it to you. Start with some color correcting just because your girl is red. So, how and why did you How and why did you decide to start a dedicated makeup page? Like I said, during the pandemic, I was doing a lot of makeup. Think I got all the redness. That's it, y'all. My whole face is green now. Don't follow my color correcting technique. I'm sure it's wrong. But during the pandemic, I was, you know, taking pictures of my makeup, but I wasn't putting them anywhere. A friend of mine was like, hey, why don't you just make a makeup page? And I was like, I was scared because remember how I said that I got bullied in middle school and elementary school? Well, I tried making a makeup YouTube because back then Instagram did not exist. And 2 girls from my class found it and sent it to not just everyone in my class, everyone in school, and they all laughed at me for it. So I deleted it. So I was nervous to do it again because I got left off the internet last time when I was like 13 or 14. My friend like really encouraged me to go for it. She actually came up with the name Yell Bell Beauty because I was like, I don't even know what I'd call it, but Yell Bell is like my nickname on everything, like my personal Instagram account, like my friends call me that sometimes. It's like on my like sports jersey from like intramural college sports, like, so yeah, that is why I started it, and I didn't think like that I would still be doing it this much later, but I am. This is the Make Beauty Skin Mimetic Concealer. I definitely didn't think that I would find like such a niche community for indie makeup when I came on here. I got really into indie makeup actually from watching Amy Loves Beauty, which is how I think a lot of people like became first exposed to a lot of like those core indie brands. She was like one of the only like dedicated indie makeup YouTubers, you know? And I really enjoyed her content. I haven't watched her in a while. She was like gone for a while too, so you know, she took like a hiatus, which is, you know, important for mental health and everything, but it's been a bit since I've watched her because, you know, I found so many other like avenues for indie makeup content, but she's actually also the reason that I started the community codes list. So Amy used to have like an ongoing codes list for indie makeup brands. I don't know if she does anymore, but the reason that I started it was because her codes list was all the big makeup YouTubers, and I say big like, I mean they're not like big, but like the medium-sized makeup YouTubers who enjoy indie makeup. Batty Bean, Annette's Makeup Corner, her, and Yelka Nyqvist, and like nothing wrong, I'm a big fan of a lot of those people, but for me it was like, what about the little person? Like, what about the person who has 10,000 followers on Instagram? Like, where's the love for their codes, you know? So that's why I started that, and I thought it would just be like a really good community initiative so we could support one another. I actually have to update the community codes list, but yeah. I am going to take like a very little bit of these two mixed together. Since my palette is filthy, let's just, but yeah, I don't need like a full face of anything. I'm not going anywhere after this, to my knowledge, so I'm just gonna take some pictures for Indie Makeup Monday. But like that amount to mix them together. Let's see, does this look correct? If you're mixing a foundation, like the best thing to do to see if it's correct is like really just to check it with your neck. I think that's close enough if I'm gonna do a sheer coverage. Just like, yeah. I went a little ham with the concealer today, so. What is one thing you wish you saw more of in makeup releases? Ooh, good question. Okay, there's a few things, and I think we could talk about a few different things. First and foremost, I need originality. Like, I am so tired of, like, makeup companies following the trend, and I know that they are because, like, that's what's gonna make money, right? Like, making money will be when people see a trend and they want to capitalize on it, but, like, I just want to see them like go against the grain and do something different. I would like to see more collaborations with smaller creators. I mean, that one I feel like is just a given in our community, you know, like it was really great to see like Katie from Shifty Shadow got a collab, Monica and Bizarre Volta have had 2 this year, Elise from Panda Replay got a collab. That was like really awesome to see somebody that like I knew get a collab, you know, things like that. I would love to see more of that because I feel like a lot of brands when they do collab, again, it's like a money thing, right? They want to capitalize off of large followings. And like, listen, I get that. That's where you're going to get the money, but like, I'd like to see them, again, go against the grain a little bit. I'm going to use the Haus Labs powder. I'm actually really looking forward to finishing this. I have not been a fan recently. It makes my under eyes look super dry. The powder that I would rather use is my Make Beauty powder. I actually have a backup of this because look at that pan in there. But I'm never going to use this up if I don't just use it. So let's just use it. I know a lot of people love this powder, so that's like a really controversial opinion, but I'm not feeling it. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is. Like my skin does not like it. You could actually see like in my last Instagram post, like you could see how dry my eye is from it. Oh my god, like I don't think the camera's gonna ever pick that up, but it is dry looking. wow. And I just used like a tiny bit on a sponge. I've tried brushes, I've tried different brushes, I've tried sponges, I've tried putting it on different ways. It's all right on the rest of my face, but like under my eyes, it's just not. And like my eyes are like really the big thing that I have to powder because that's where I get creases. Good enough, I think. I would like to see, one thing with brands that like I would really like to see is like, I'd like them to stop doing these like IP collabs. I think Lauren Mae Beauty like actually made a video the other day talking about this, but it's just like, I get that they want to cash in on fans of like Sailor Moon or like Star Wars or whatever it is, but it's like, they just never do them well. And I'm not just talking about ColourPop. Like, no one, Makeup Revolution does them a ton. I mean, even I think of my favorite one to point to for this is the MAC and the Sims collab. Like, what the hell was that? That was like, they were like, we got this palette laying around, let's just put the Sims on it. Like, what the hell was that? What about this palette says the Sims? Like, what, there wasn't a green, like, at all in it. It was all brown. Why won't you just like even, I don't know, like watch an episode of the show or something, or like play the game for 20 minutes? Like, I just think some of them make sense. Like Game Beauty and Persona 5 I think made a lot of sense because like that's a really big like video game franchise. Game Beauty is about video games. Like that made a lot more sense than like MAC and the Sims, ColourPop and Star Wars, you know? I don't know. I just don't get it. For bronzer, so I have this Beauty Blender bronzer that I told myself I would finish up, but I actually think I'm just gonna bite the bullet and donate this. I have some stuff to donate. I hate the highlighter in here. It's awful. The bronzer is meh. I'm actually just gonna put this in the donate pile right now. I have a pile going. Instead, for bronzer, if I'm gonna go for cream bronzer, I've actually been going for Cocoa from Salt New York. So maybe we'll do that. It's either that or I'm like really, I mean, I have pan in like all my bronzers. We have the Marc Jacobs, there's a pan there. This is I think my oldest bronzer right now. And then we've got the Neon MUA and Midas palette. So we got a pan in there. You can see that the pan's like about to expand because you see the metal there. But yeah, I'd like to finish up a bronzer this year. I feel like realistically, if I'm gonna finish a bronzer this year, it's gonna be this just because it's much smaller than the Marc Jacobs bronzer. But, you know, it's very funny because this I feel like was so easy to pan. Like originally, like to get the pan, like it did not take that many uses. But then to like expand it, it's taken forever. All my bronzers are some pretty different tones. So like, here's the Marc Jacobs. And then here's the Midas. Like you could see that one's much more orange and deep. And then if I was to use Salt New York Cocoa, this one's like redder. Let's swatch that Beauty Blender one for you. And it has nothing to do with the shade that I don't like. I don't like the formula of this. It's just not for me. It's pretty close to like the Midas one actually. I'd say it's between the Midas and the Marc Jacobs, but yeah, it's meh. I wouldn't have bought it with my own money. I was gifted this. So let's go on a Project Beauty share. Okay, let's use Salt New York. Do a little wipe this off here. Again, this needs to be washed. Actually, maybe there's nothing on this and it's just stained. This is the Anissa Buffing Bronzer Brush. I was actually gifted this through Octoly or Skeepers or whatever it's called now. Obviously, one thing I'd like to see in beauty releases, and I think that this should go without saying, but like I want to see a more inclusive shade range. Like, again, every foundation that comes out caters to me, and that is a problem. So I'd like to see a more inclusive shade range. Again, not just in foundations, but bronzers, highlighters. If you're gonna come out with a face palette, I think you should come out with like 3 minimum, right? Like you should come out with like a light, medium, deep, and then what I would call rich, which is like a very deep skin tone. I might have gone a little too ham with that bronzer. So I don't know why on my face this looks fine, but then I'm looking in the monitor and it looks like there's a big splotch of bronzer here. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Okay. So I would love to see that. I want to see like different things and innovative things, and I think that when brands try different things, like they're not often celebrated. I'd like to see us celebrate them for doing different things. What did I see recently where people were like complaining about it? What was it? Is it somebody's coming out with it's Rose and Ben is collabing with, I don't even remember who. Rose and Ben is collabing with someone, which I find interesting because she has her own brush brand, so like maybe she only wants to keep it brushes and not makeup, but she's doing like a color correcting palette. Now, do I think it will work for everyone? No, like she needed more colors for the color correcting palette, but a lot of people were like, who the hell needs this? Like, I think that that's like a great tool for somebody who's a makeup artist by trade to get like a color correcting palette. I don't think that that's like a release for like the general public, but she tried something different, and we're always asking for different things, and then we get the different things and people are like, ew, different things. I just want a brown eyeshadow palette. So, yeah. The next question was, what's a makeup scandal that I believe went under the radar? Kind of feel like we talked about this last time. I feel like Juvia's Place has just like been completely forgiven. But I don't know if that necessarily went under the radar. Somebody commented on my last video about scandals that Midas had some sort of scandal, but I didn't look into it. Something that went under the radar. I don't know. I don't know if I can necessarily like think of anything that really went under the radar. Let me like think while we do blush and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I got these Persona blushes. They are much smaller than I thought they would be. I feel like they don't look very small on camera, but like let's do like a comparator here, I guess, right? Here's a blush from Melt. Like, look how tiny that is. What? I've never purchased anything from Persona before, so like here, let's just like do a pan comparator. Like, while it is tiny, like the whole thing is a pan, so maybe that like is like a plastic saving initiative, you know, but like look how little baby this is. This is a full size, by the way. For a second I thought I like accidentally ordered like a mini or something. No, this is the full size. So I don't know. I've never tried this before, so let's try it out. This is the shade Georgia. I think the other one I got is like terracotta, right? Yeah, this is terracotta. Let's go with Georgia. It matches our crease. This brush is actually from AOA Studio, like the $1 makeup brand. They make some nice face brushes. Their eye brushes fall apart very quickly, but I do like this. This is the F13. Ooh, do you see that kick up? I think it just caught it, but like, even in the pan, wow. You know, actually, you know what scandal I think, ooh, that is much more intense than I thought it would be. You know what scandal I think kind of went under the radar? Everything with Killer Queen Cosmetics. Do you remember them? Are they still around? I'm gonna have to like do some digging and see if they're still around, but they had this issue where they were like never sending out, they were like collecting money and never sending out people's palettes, which is very reminiscent of Storybook Cosmetics. Do you remember Storybook Cosmetics? That was another one. They had like a whole scandal, but they were like mainstream at a point though. They were in Ulta. I mean, I don't know. That's another one where I've always wondered about them, like if they actually had permission to like use those IPs, because they had like Mean Girls, Harry Potter, all that kind of stuff. I'm sure J.K. Rowling said yes if she could make a buck, right? But who knows? Okay, we might be a little too blushy, but it's fine. What we'll do is I think we'll do some freckles. I think that'll compensate. But yeah, Killer Queen, I think, kind of went under the radar in the sense that, like, I don't know if the brand closed or what. It was very interesting. I felt like they showed up, like, everywhere for, like, a period of time. They were an indie brand. And don't quote me on this, but I believe they private labeled. I'm not positive in the sense, like, that I've never had one of their palettes, but like looking at their palettes, you see a lot of like those common private label shades, like that teal, that purple. Where's like any form of chapstick? My lips are feeling dry again. All right, let's finish up our eyes. But yeah, I believe that it was, their palettes were like very expensive, like hundreds of dollars, and people were paying for them and not getting them, or at least for like they weren't getting them for long periods of time. I feel like that didn't really happen. Like I don't remember anyone on Reddit talking about it. Like I don't hear people talk about it anymore. I'm gonna take Green Mist again on the bottom lash line and the inner corner part. I'm gonna take that on this BH Cosmetics 10. It's a little pencil brush. So that was one. I feel like Storybook Cosmetics was like a whole other one. I believe, I'll link it down below if I can find this, but somebody did a more recent, recently did a deep dive on them on YouTube. I'll have to see if I can find it and link it below. But yeah, that was one that Storybook Cosmetics is one that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about. I think that again, don't quote me on this, but I think I read that the owners are like coming out with like some other kind of brand now. What the hell is that? I guess that's the way that the light's coming through my window. It's gotta be my window. These dots are like from the top of the blinds, but the light just must be the sun must be in a weird spot. But I think I'm gonna take on the lower lash line, let's take this like light peachy shade right here. It looks like almost white in the camera, but it is like a light peachy pink. So yeah, I think that those are some makeup scandals. Let me know down below. Do you feel that any makeup scandals went under the radar? One of you asked if I could collab with a brand, who would it be and why? I kind of am gonna be silent on that one. Not gonna give you an answer there. I think it's probably obvious to a lot of people. Like I feel like a lot of people could guess who I'd want to collab with, but yeah. I'm gonna go in the outer corner with this peachy shade. There are a few brands that I'd love to collab with, but there's definitely a number one. Okay, I'm gonna go with Eyes Are Done with the exception of a pencil. I'm thinking, where is it? This Faux Whites pencil from NYX has this mint cream. Okay, do you like reading? If so, what books do you like reading? I do like reading. I actually have like a vast variety of books that I like to read. It's almost funny, like my bookshelf is actually organized by type of book. So at the top I have manga. And then under that I have romance novels like Nicholas Sparks, even like those like really cheesy ones. Like I like a good like Katie McGarry book. Jamie McGuire, which they recently came out with a movie from one of Jamie McGuire's books and it was abysmal. The movie was a laughing stock. I would not watch it if you enjoy her books, but yeah, I mean, I think it's like one thing if you know it's a cheesy romance novel. I'm not saying it's like the height of literature, you know? Then the next shelf is like thrillers. Love a good like Stephen King, Harlan Coben is like a quick read, you know, things like that. Gillian Flynn, big Gillian Flynn fan, things like that. And then after that is true crime on the bottom. So an Anne Rule book, love an Anne Rule book. Now, like when people talk about like consumption of true crime, I think that's a little bit different. Let's start with Freckles while we talk about this actually. So I've been running out of my Freck, so I recently actually got a Freck Noir because I feel like this might be better. So let's see. I think when people consume true crime, there are like important things that need to be taken into account. Like, does the family actually want you to talk about this? You know, like Anne Rule, if you don't know who Anne Rule is, can I not get this eyelash off my eye? Hold on. There we go. If you don't know who Anne Rule is, she was a crime journalist. She passed away, I believe in like the 2010s. She is famously known for actually having been friends with Ted Bundy before she found out he was a serial killer. They worked at a crisis hotline together. She wrote a book about it. It's called The Stranger Beside Me, which is a very interesting place for Ted Bundy to work. But if you like a good, and maybe this is like the academic in me, but if you like a good, very in-depth piece, She leaves out no information, and the books are very long. It's not just like, oh, and this is Ted Bundy. It's like, Ted Bundy's grandmother was born here, and her upbringing was like this. And she gave birth to Ted Bundy's mother here, and her upbringing was like this. Like, there's a lot of information in them. So I think those are, you know, she writes really great dynamic books. Currently I'm reading Bitter Harvest by her. Again, her books are, it's the same thing with true crime. Like, it's not for the faint of heart because there are some tough topics. She's written about Diane Downs, who famously killed, I believe she tried to kill all of her children, but I believe only one passed away. The one that I'm reading right now is about Dr. Deborah Green. She is a family annihilator as well, so like, she writes books about that. She wrote about the Green River serial killer, but yeah, she was a crime journalist, and before that, she was actually a cop. She found a lot of interest in crime there, which is how she branched into true crime journalism. So I always find that very interesting. Her books are good. And then like here and there I'll get a book about something else. I recently tried reading one about the Manson family. It was not written well. It was not Helter Skelter. It was a different book, but it was a lot about, it wasn't about what the Manson family did. It was about the cultural implications of the Manson family and like how they've, you know, come to be a part of like pop culture and like why this like journalist believes that they did. So there was that. I did not finish it. It was just like, I actually found it to be very boring in writing. I read a book about like O.J. Simpson and kind of like the cultural implications of like the O.J. Simpson trial. I don't know who Rodney King was in the 90s. He was a victim of police brutality, and there were a lot of protests and there were a lot of riots in LA because of this, and the O.J. trial happened around it. The O.J. Simpson trial kind of became sensationalized by that, and he used a lot in his defense that he was a black man and the cops were white, so it was a lot of like race was a huge topic around the O.J. Simpson trial, which is actually what brought in Johnny Cochran, who was one of O.J.'s lawyers. He was a social justice lawyer for black people who felt that they had been wronged by institutions like the police or schools. Now, if we're talking about like conscious consumption of true crime, I think if the family is okay with people talking about the case, that's fine. But if somebody's like mother was murdered and they're like, I don't want the media talking about it any further, like, why are you stretching it out for your true crime podcast where you make jokes about people being killed? You know, it's just like, you need to be respectful. I think for me, I consume a lot of content that is what I would consider more factual. So like, I would rather read an Ann Rule book or listen to Dateline or 2020 as a podcast, or like watch it, than I would rather like listen to someone sitting in their apartment talking about it and their opinion, how they're going to armchair diagnose somebody, you know? Like, it's just like I'd rather it be like a legitimate production with information from like multiple sources and like not somebody who thinks that they're like an armchair psychologist. But I understand that true crime is like very like polarizing, specifically like true crime and things like Bailey Sarian's a big one that people talk about. Sorry, I see my under eyes creasing already and I'm like, this freaking powder. But like, people talk a lot about Bailey Sarian and how it's disrespectful that she does makeup and talk about true crime. I actually in the past had consumed Bailey Sarian, but here's the thing. I can't watch her videos anymore for a few reasons. And I think one of the big ones is that I don't find her to be very respectful of people, like regardless of who they are in the case. Like, I think she's not respectful of victims. She's not respectful of like perpetrators if they're really sick. Like, I think that she like makes jokes that I find really inappropriate. And that's personally, like, I'm not saying that you can't consume Bailey Sarian, but like I'm saying that's why I don't consume Bailey Sarian's content anymore. I'm gonna use this brush from Tarte. This was from like the Fairy Wings collection. I also have a blush from it. I had the palette, I decluttered it. It was boring, but I used it for work and whatever. But yeah, so I don't know. I feel some type of way about Bailey because of that. I think I really started to notice it when she did the Slender Man case, and the the children in that case, in my opinion, and I believe like most legal experts' opinions, were very sick. Like, they're very sick. And like, by sick, I mean like they are mentally ill and they need help, right? Like, and she made a lot of jokes about these really sick young children. I found that really inappropriate, so that's why I stopped watching Bailey, personally. Okay, we got some uneven splotchings of freckles, but I think it helps compensate for the blush. So let's do my eyebrows now. So those are all the questions that I got. Thank you for sending in your questions, but I think that we could, you know, fill this time talking about other things. Let's talk about one thing as I use this Kosas brow pencil. Let's talk about Clean Beauty. And I'm interested in your opinions down below. What do you think of Clean Beauty? I feel it's like kind of a buzzword. And I think what I find most irritating about it is how quickly things go bad. And I'm aware that a few of the things I've used today like label themselves as Clean Beauty, but like without preservatives, how is this blush like supposed to last past like a day? I just don't get it. I don't know. I have a Tower 28 blush and I like can't tell if it's good or bad. Like I just can't tell if it's gone bad. I don't remember what it smelled like when I got it. It kind of smells like crayons. I'm gonna go with it's probably not good anymore and I should get rid of it. How do I know if a brow pencil is bad? Does it just like stop working? Like, I don't know. There are some things where it's very obvious, like lipsticks. Oh my God, can they smell? I actually saw the other day that someone had actually tested their Kosas concealer after it started smelling bad. Like they sent it to like a cosmetic lab for testing and there was nothing harmful in it. They believe that it started to smell bad because there's like sunflower oil in the Kosas concealer. I don't know. Maybe that's like, it goes rancid quickly without a preservative. I don't know. I am not like a person who is like worried about things in my makeup unless they're like, I don't know, like proven to be carcinogenic or something, right? Here's the short of it for me at least. I live in Philadelphia, okay? You know what our air quality is like on a daily basis? Like if I'm gonna get some like really horrible disease, I don't know if it's necessarily gonna come from my makeup before it would come from the air that I breathe daily. So, I mean, to each their own. I have a friend who, growing up, his mom like thought everything gave you cancer and like never let him have coffee or whatever. And I'm like, if coffee gives me cancer, then like, I mean, I see no evidence that it does. This is actually done, my Kosas Airbrow, so we're gonna throw that out and we're gonna open my new brow gel. I didn't like it how at the end of the Kosas Airbrow, I wasn't able to get things out of the packaging because the spoolie wasn't long enough. I picked up the Half Magic one when I placed an order recently. So let's try it. I actually haven't heard anything about this. It's lime green. What does the spoolie look like? Oh, that's big. Do you see that? Interesting. Okay, let's try it. Smells kind of hair gel-like. That is a big spoolie. Like, look at that with my brow. Wow. It's like short and fat. But yeah, you know, if things give you cancer and you use them daily, like, I don't know. I need direct evidence that it does. I took a class in college called Bio of Cancer back when I was still a physical therapy major, and we each got assigned one of those like big things of like, do cell phones give you cancer? Does eating burnt food give you cancer? Does like this, that, the other thing give you cancer? And like each group got assigned one, and my group got assigned, does eating burnt food give you cancer? And like the answer is yes, but like in large quantities. It doesn't give you cancer, it makes you more like susceptible to cancer. So if I ate like charred, like blackened toast every day for breakfast for 10 years, I'm more likely to get stomach cancer than someone who doesn't. But like, I don't know, it's kind of extreme. It's not like if I eat one burnt hot dog that I'm gonna like, you know, die, but things like that. There's actually, at least at the time when I was in college, that was what, like 2015 probably when I took that class, there was not a lot of like proof that cell phones give you cancer. Like there was assumptions that like cell phones, microwaves, things like that give you cancer, but there was actually not a lot of evidence out there. So I'm really not sure. Honestly, if cell phones give you cancer, we're all screwed. Like we all have cancer. So point blank, you know? Okay, brows are done. That felt like a brow gel. Let's see. Let's do a highlighter. If we're looking at peachy highlighters, we could go like Lunar Beauty, Mars. This is like a favorite. I don't know if he's gonna bring these back. I want him to bring these back because I want to get Venus, which is the gold one. We could go Nabla. This one is Privilege. It's like a rose gold. This is Warm Sunshine from Kaleidos. This one's like kind of an orange. Not that you could really tell, but it's like an orange duochrome. You can't really see it that well. Go Diamond Dasher. Kind of feeling Diamond Dasher. We could go New Mars Melter. This is like my favorite of the Kaleidos highlights right now, I think. I think I'll hit pin in this one. I might not hit pin in this one next. I might hit pin in Ray Rider first because this is like a good everyday highlighter. But I haven't been using it as much because I've actually been trying to go through my Say Dew Balm. I actually really love this. This is another one. I can't tell. I can't tell if it went bad. Like, it doesn't smell weird. It doesn't smell like anything. Yeah, it doesn't smell like anything, but I don't know. I think I can finish this year though, so there's that. I did recently get this. Oh my god. I am so sorry about the light. It just is what it is. I did recently get the Noctilucent palette from Blend Bunny. I don't know if any of these are necessarily like a peach though. There is this one, but I don't know if that's so much a highlight for me as that would be like an eyeshadow topper. This one's like a pinky. This one's blue. It's hard to tell like looking in the pans what these are. I need to like label these. There's a green in here. This is a green. I kind of want to put that in my inner corner. Let's put a little bit of that in the inner corner. This is in AOA F16. So we're going to take a little bit of transient right here and pop that in the inner corner. Oh yeah, that's what I want. That's like the perfect mint. I'm also going to put some of that on my brow bone, I think. Let's take that on this BH Cosmetics pencil brush from earlier. Yeah. Alright. So now let's go in with Diamond Dasher. This is a Sigma F03. Alright. With that wonderful beam of light in my face. Let's use some setting spray and then we'll put on mascara and lips. So, I actually finished that setting spray from Joa that I was gifted. Let's use the NYX Bear With Me. I think this is still my favorite setting spray. I do like the Urban Decay one, which I do have a bottle of over here, but I think this is still my favorite setting spray. It works the best in my opinion. You know what I do want to try? I want to try the One Size setting spray. I've heard only good things about it, but like I'm a little put off from buying from One Size because Patrick Starr, like, I don't know, he didn't really care much about the pandemic, so that makes me feel some type of way. And then recently there was, I don't know much about this, but there was some sort of situation where at the premiere of the Barbie movie, was it? He like shoved past a disabled person? Am I like right? That happened. I think he did apologize for that, but I don't know. I don't know. But people say really good things about it, and I am getting married in the heat of Hawaii, so, you know, that's something we could talk about. A lot of people have asked me because they know that I'm getting married in Hawaii, like, what's up with my wedding? I'm getting married on the island of Oahu, so the fires in Maui actually do not affect my wedding. But one thing that I'm asking is if people ask what I want, like, we already told them, like, if you're coming to Hawaii, like, we don't want anything. But if people, like, really want to do something, I would like them for our wedding as a gift to just donate to, like, everything going on in Maui. So that's, you know, something that I feel that I'd like to give back. Even if it's not where I'm getting married, it is still Hawaii, you know? But getting married in the heat in Hawaii outdoors, I feel like I need a really, really good setting spray. And that one has definitely come up. I could just do the old school, like, I was a cheerleader and we used to just use hairspray. Keeps everything on your face. We just used hairspray. So maybe that's just the move for my wedding. I don't know. I think drag queens also used to use hairspray. I think that's where that like actually came from. So thank you, drag queens. The real inventors of setting spray. I'm so sorry if that light is driving you all nuts. I just don't know what to do about it. It's clearly driving me nuts if you couldn't tell. I think for foundation for my wedding, first and foremost, since we're taking a flight, I think I'm just going to go to a Sephora there once we get there because, like, I don't want it to explode on the plane. But I think the best long-wear foundation I've had is the Fenty Beauty Ease Drop. And it's really held up for me in heat. I used it up this past year. So I think I would just buy, like, a bottle of that at Sephora when I'm there. It'll also be helpful because we're going to be there for a few days before my wedding, and I might get tan, or so. Well, no, it'll be in May, so I might just get tan because I'll probably be, you know, mostly my winter shade before going there. You know, I've already asked a lot of you for recommendations for highlighter specifically. I have the Phytosurgeon Spectral Shine, is that what it's called? That's coming like on Monday or Tuesday this week, so I'm excited to try that as like a natural highlight. Like, y'all know I love, like, I mean, look what I'm wearing right now. You know I love like a really sparkly highlight, but I just don't think it's like something I want in my wedding photos, you know? I want something a little more natural looking. And then eyes, I have like a few ideas I want to try out. I think I'm gonna do like a few different looks and maybe have you all like give me feedback on Instagram. I think that would be fun. But my color is like a pop of coral. So I was thinking I could do like a pop of coral in the inner corner. One that one palette that I think of a lot actually is the Paradise Islands palette from Nomad. Like these shades here. Like this would be a really nice like pop of coral in the inner corner, I think. Or like I could do my eyes like really neutral and then like do a coral lip. I don't know. Still thinking. All right, we just have lips left. So let's wipe off what we got going on here. Feeling like nude or like a peachy nude. So let's see what we got. We could go Makeup by Mario. We could go, this is Sienna from Kaleidos. This is Mommy Spice from Alamar. I know it's like such an unpopular opinion, but I love an Alamar gloss. They're really sticky, but they're like so thick and they last a long time. I'm so about it. This is Magic Brownie from Half Magic. It would just be like a brown gloss with sparkles. I do love that. If you don't like glitter, I would certainly not get this. This is like very glittery. I was actually gifted this from a friend who works at Estee Lauder, but this is the YSL Lip Shine. It doesn't have like a color, it just says 43, so I don't know. But the packaging is like very heavy in luxe, but there's that. That is like a coral, but yeah. This is, I think I am going to use this look for indie makeup on night. So let's try to keep it indie. Let's not pull out YSL. This is the Rare Beauty like nearly apricot lip balm. That's like very sheer, but I think that's like a prime contender right now. I just got this from Lawless. I'm not gonna lie, I am not impressed with the packaging. It feels so cheap, like it's so light. I have an update for you all. Hold on, I feel like I have to sneeze. So I know that I like really shit on the Forget the Filler gloss, but you can see I have like almost finished it up. I changed my mind. I like this. I do like this. I am not going to take back that I feel that ColourPop has a very similar formula in these, and it's very cheap. But having the wand makes a difference. This is a little bit thicker. I mean, I take it back. I do like this. So I actually got this in a few colors, but that's like a whole other scenario. But so these feel like nice and heavy, right? This feels so cheap. This is plastic. But this is one of their new lipsticks. This is in the shade Tropic. I have not used it yet, as you can see. It's that one right there. That's pretty. Maybe that. My other two contenders were This Is Melt Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn's like really like peachy. It's that one right there. And then This Is Blushing from Lunar Beauty, which is like a pinky nude. I love their lipstick like print on it. It's so good. And that one's Blushing right there. So these are some, you know, nice peachy options. I think I'm gonna go with Gwendolyn. Let's try it. It's actually quite close to Blushing. Let's like swatch them right next to each other. Oh yeah. I mean, this one's a little more peach. So this is Blushing from Lunar Beauty, and then this is Tropic from Lawless. So they're pretty close. If you have one or the other, I would not get the other one, but yeah. All right, let's line our lips. Got a lot of lip liners here. Most of them are from ColourPop, but I have some other things mixed in. You can't tell me that these all look extremely different on the lips. Like this one maybe, but like, come on. Yelly, why do you have these? This one looks most brown. No, this one looks most brown. But like, these two, like why are these all so close? Why did I keep these? Okay, I am gonna go with 951? Is that like an LA area code or something? What I should do is like swatch these all out on a piece of paper and then label them so that I don't have to like pull the cap off and be like, this one's this and this one's this. Okay, first experience with the Lawless lipsticks. I might have picked too deep of a lip liner. I don't feel like any of the plumping effect that their lip glosses have. These are called like the plumping lipstick, right? I'm pretty sure these are called like, I don't think I have the box for this one anymore, but I'm pretty sure that these are called like the line filling plumping lipsticks or something. I don't feel any plumping, so I wouldn't worry about that if you were worried about that. And I'm gonna add a little bit of the Rare Beauty Nearly Apricot Balm on top just because my lips are so dry and you could see it. First impressions? It's a lipstick. Thank you so much for getting ready with me today, bearing with my beautiful sunlight look on my face. I had a lot of fun answering your questions. I'd love to do this again if you had an interest in that. If you don't follow me on Instagram, if you're not subscribed to me here, if you don't follow me on TikTok, make sure to find me. Again, I am Yael Bell Beauty. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay weird. Bye!